please remain standing as we take the second stanza of the national anthem as our opening prayer. After 2 counts, 1, 2. O God of creation, direct our noble course, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true. Great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Thank you very much. We may please take our seats.
Hello and thank you for joining us on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Lami Ali. We are beaming to you live from the National Assembly, a public hearing on the 2019 budget. Now, you may recall that President Muhammadu Buhari presented and laid before a joint session of the National Assembly, the 2019 appropriation bill on the 19th of December 2018. As we await the arrival of the Senate President and honorable ministers who will be here to contribute to this program, we have already seated the Speaker, House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara. Now, this is a joint public hearing by the Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation, and this program is the third in the series. The public hearing being conducted on the budget before legislative approval. As you may also be aware, the budget defense by the various ministries and agencies of government is ongoing at both the Senate and House of Representatives. Now, this public hearing is meant to expose the national budget to increased citizen and stakeholder participation.
the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, the Chairman and members of the Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Appropriations, the Honorable Minister of Budget and National Planner, distinguished Senator Udoma Udodo, the Honorable Minister of Finance, Azja Zainab Ahmad, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Finance, the DG, Debt Management Office, civil society organizations, other invited guests, the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Once again, it is my pleasure to welcome you once again to the National Assembly for the third public hearing on national budget. It started 3 years ago, 2017, 2018, and here we are, 2019. Clearly, it is an initiative of the 8th National Assembly. We applaud you for that. Without wasting much of our time, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to, at this point, invite the chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, distinguished Senator Danjuma Gojo, to give us the welcome address. This way, sir.
Mr. Speaker, the Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, other principal officers of the National Assembly, distinguished senators, honorable members, honorable ministers, heads of MDS, development partners, civil society organizations, other invited guests, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is with profound honor and pleasure that I welcome you all today on the occasion of the joint 2019 public hearing on the national budget, the third in the history of the 8th National Assembly. The 2019 budget proposal, upon which we are here to aggregate the views of stakeholders, interest groups, and other players in Nigeria's growth and development, is a total sum of 8,636,578,915 naira only. On behalf of the members of the appropriation committees of the two chambers, Senate and House of Reps, I use this opportunity to thank our amiable special guests, Senate President in absentia, His Excellency Senator Abubakar Bukola Saraki, GCON, and the Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, who have demonstrated unwavering commitment towards ensuring transparency in the affairs of government. We most graciously honor you in your welcome. We also appreciate the entire leadership and membership of the National Assembly, as well as the executive led by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, and indeed the entire Nigerian people for the support being given to us. The main objective of this hearing is to promote an all-inclusive and active stakeholder participation in the process leading to the passage of the 2019 budget. As active promoters or defenders of good governance, it is our hope that your contributions today will help the National Assembly achieve its pledge to the Nigerian people, which is in tandem with the federal government roadmap as expressed in the Economic Recovery Growth Plan, ERGP 2017 to 2020. You will also recall that one of the cardinal objectives of this assembly was to change and promote openness and governance and in all public sector matters, which is expressed also in the 2015 to 19 legislative agenda of this assembly. This hearing offers us, as representatives of the people, a duty to hear the people's perspective on the proposed distribution of our Commonwealth. It is also important at this point to state that this assembly has made remarkable achievements from its interactions with stakeholders in the budget hearing the previous years. It, among other things, helped in tackling the issue of double and uncoordinated budgeting lines, identifying and make adequate budgetary provisions for items that were not captured in the executive proposal. For instance, the provision made for pensioners in 2017 budget that brought respite to those affected was not initially brought by the executive. It was here that we handle it, following the contributions of stakeholders like you during the first public hearing we had here in this room. Again, in 2018, provision was made for the 1% allocation to health sector, which was also as a result of the submissions from the representatives of the health sector associations and other interested stakeholders last year, which necessitated the National Assembly to now allocate 1% to the health sector in accordance with the law already passed by the National Assembly. It is as a result of the input in the public hearing conducted last year. And there are so many other examples of things that we really try to reflect in the budget following various submissions during the previous public hearing. It is hoped that this year also new issues will come up that will be of great assistance and help to Nigerian people. Indeed, the 8th National Assembly owes these achievements to the contributions of stakeholders like you people. The two committees hope that at the end of this hearing, which is the last in the life of this 8th National Assembly, having enjoyed the goodwill and contributions of Nigerian people and civil society organizations in the budget process, the output of this hearing will engender a better budget outcome and impact which the next assembly will continue from. At this point, let me once again welcome all of you to this special public hearing on the 2019 budget. Thank you and you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Distinguished Senator Danjuma Goje, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before we move to the next item on the program, I'd like to make a few corrections to emphasize that the personality we have here is not the DG Debt Management Office, but DG Budget Office of the Federation. The error is mine, highly regretted. And also, I'd like to formally once again recognize distinguished Senator Solomon Itainan, Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly. You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, distinguished senators, honorable members of the House of Representatives, honorable ministers, heads of ministerial departments and agencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. At this point in time, it is my honor to invite Honorable Mustafa Baladawaki, the Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Appropriations, for his remarks. Honorable Chairman, please. Thank you.
Okay.
The President of the Senate, Her Excellency, Right Honorable Speaker Yakubu Dogara, please permit me to stand on the existing protocols. I consider it a great honor for me to make a few remarks at the 2019 National Budget Public Hearing. I join other speakers who spoke before me in welcoming you to this special event. We have continued to watch the annual budget performance of the nation within the context of the yawning gaps in our nation's development profile. Budget anywhere remains a compass that drives national goals and aspirations. Ours is not any different. The relevance of this hearing is thus predicted on this narrative. Permit me to observe that in a period of resource constraint, it will be incumbent on all parties relevant in this budget process to team up within a cooperative framework to achieve needed objectives. We in the National Assembly are poised to achieve this and nothing less. I therefore crave the indulgence of all of us here today to still make the 2019 budget and beyond as impactful and effective as it should be. Mr. Senate President, Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished senators and honorable members of the National Assembly, honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, it is on this note that I would want to thank you for your attendance and wish you a fruitful and memorable outing. I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Appropriations, Honorable Mustafa Baladawaki, a member of the House of Representatives from Kano State. Thank you. Let's appreciate him once more, please. Thank you. Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, distinguished senators, honorable members of the House of Representatives, honorable ministers, heads of extra-ministerial departments and agencies, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. At this point in time, it is my singular honor and privilege to invite His Excellency, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, to present his keynote address and declare this very important public hearing open. Your Excellency, Honorable Speaker, sir, thank you.
Kindly take your seats, please. Principal officers of the National Assembly, distinguished senators, honorable members, Chairman, Senate Committee on Appropriations, distinguished Senator Danjuma Goja and his deputy, Chairman House Committee on Appropriations, the Honorable Mustafa Baladawaki and his able deputy, honorable ministers of Budget and Planning and Finance, the Director of Budget, Special Advisor to Mr. President of the National Assembly Senate, and distinguished Senator Beta, members of the National Assembly Management, heads of MDS, development partners, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my singular pleasure to address you at the opening of this 2019 National Budget hearing, jointly organized by Committees on Appropriations of the Senate and the House of Representatives. Permit me to welcome all stakeholders to this important event. We are all aware of the importance of a well-formulated budget to effective service delivery by government. Indeed, the budget represents the main bond between the government and the people. Today's exercise forms a very important segment in the making of the appropriations bill by the National Assembly. This interactive session is in line with the constitutional responsibilities and legislative agenda of the National Assembly, which is aimed at making the budget process more inclusive and transparent. The public and indeed stakeholders gathered here must never feel that the budget does not reflect their values or that the process is too cumbersome for them to understand or that they cannot make any difference in the process. This is why Parliament, in its wisdom, created this opportunity for a public and stakeholder dialogue on the budget. Therefore, we must not miss this opportunity to critically appraise the document that is before us and proffer useful tools that will help reshape the budget into a document that captures national values and priorities. This is the task before all of us today. And believe me, we can make a difference if we are determined to rewrite the wrongs of the past. By our constitutional design, the President's role in drafting the budget estimates cannot be assailed, but the power of the purse is the function of the legislature by constitutional design. The power of the purse includes the fact that expenditure can only be made in consequence of express legislative authorization and the authority to create and collect taxes, borrow or raise money through loans when the need arises. Over the years, the main problem with our budget as submitted by the executive has been that it does not reflect national values and priorities. The budget more often than not only reflects the values and priorities of those who help in crafting it. The integrity of the budget selection process has always been the bane of national budgets. I regret to say that until we eliminate these problems, we will always have non-implementable national budgets which cannot be relied upon by policymakers in establishing spending priorities. It is very painful that for some years now, our budget process has been an exercise in either or a combination of audacious optimism and or hypocrisy, involving key actors putting together a budget that they fully know would at best be implemented 45%, which by all standards is below average. How many of us will be proud of a child who consistently performs below average in his exams? How many of us here are proud of our below average budget performance over all these years? This phenomenon of below budget performance is the main reason why, as a country, we have remained a major promise, as our national potentials cannot be released without effective budget planning and execution. The budget is the most important law that is passed yearly. Consequently, no parliament anywhere in the world rushes it. Let me re-emphasize that this parliament as has always been the case, will never arrive at a point where we will merely rubber stamp the national budget. It is unfortunate, however, that many commentators, always ignorantly, so to say, accuse the National Assembly of delaying the appropriations bill as if we were meant to urgently rubber stamp whatever budget estimates they submitted to us by the executive. If we fail to scrutinize the budget proposals, it will not only amount to abdication of our constitutional responsibilities as legislators, but a betrayal of the mandate of our constituents. Let me also add that it is very unfair for the executive to consistently and repeatedly blame the National Assembly of delaying passage of the budget while failing to address the issues of late budget submission on its part. The Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 provides that the appropriations bill be submitted not later than September of the preceding year, which will give the legislature ample time to process the document and pass it in good time. Unfortunately, as we all know, the 2019 appropriations bill was submitted on December 19, 2018, just 12 days to the end of the year, and the earliest time an appropriation bill has ever been presented to the National Assembly in this dispensation was on November 7, 2017. Similarly, we took the bold step of addressing this challenge by passing a constitutional amendment bill which sought to compel the executive to submit the budget proposals to the National Assembly not later than 90 days to the end of the fiscal year, and also to limit expenditure that can be incurred in the absence of the Appropriation Act from 6 months to 3 months. Furthermore, in yet another audacious effort to improve institutional capacity of the Parliament to process and pass budget expeditiously, the National Assembly Budget and Research Office, NABRA, establishment bill was passed into law. It was closely modeled after the American Congressional Budget Office, the CBO. Unfortunately, I regret to inform this gathering that these laudable efforts and initiatives were thwarted when the President withheld his assent to these two very critical and important bills. Consequently, efforts to enact a budget process bill which will spell out timelines for every activity concerning the budget is stalled because it will be ineffective to enact a law that will run contrary to Section 81, subsection 1 of the Constitution, which allows the President to submit the budget estimate at any time before the end of the financial year. I'm happy to note that I'm the sponsor of the budget process bill, but unfortunately I can't proceed because this very important constitutional amendment that we sought to make to Section 81, subsection 8 did not scale through. So there's a lot of work that is left to be done for us to attain timely passage of national budgets. Since this is the last budget in the life of the 8th National Assembly, and time is not on our side, we would like to make haste slowly. Heads of MDS can help in this noble effort by making appearances in good time before their relevant committees to defend their estimates, as some have started doing, which is commendable, and I must commend the heads of MDS who have already appeared before their relevant committees to defend their budget estimates. And let me also say that what happened last year when some heads of MDS refused to appear before their relevant committees to defend their estimates until a presidential directive compelled them to do so must never repeat itself this year if we were to finish the processing of this budget as early as we want to. We hope to pass the appropriations bill as soon as we reconvene from suspension of plenary. I will not conclude until I've urged the executive arm to be prepared to muster the will to honestly and diligently implement this year's budget when passed into law and improve on the abysmally low and poor budget performance rate that has been the hallmark of our national budget for many unbroken years. And I'm happy the Minister of Budget and Planning, the Minister of Finance are seated here. We cannot score 45% in 2019. We are not calling for 100%, but let's aim at 70%. That would be excellent. That is my charge to you. In closing, permit me to charge the Joint Committee to work assiduously to ensure that they deliver a working document that all of us here, and indeed Nigerians, will be proud of. I wish us all very smooth and result-oriented deliberations. With these comments, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to say that it's my pleasure to declare this public hearing on the 2019 appropriation bill open. Thank you. May God bless you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Speaker, House of Representatives, the Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, for the brilliant presentation. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, with the permission of the High Table, I'd like to give special recognition to the Executive Director, Plaque, Mr. Clem Nwanko, and of course also to give a special recognition to the UKAID supporters of this initiative. A round of applause for them, please. Thank you. At this point, I'd like to invite the Vice Chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations to give the vote of thanks to mark the end of the opening session. Distinguished Senator Sonny Oboji.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I observe all protocols already established by previous speakers. I think I have the easiest assignment, which is just to say thank you to all attendees to this program who have taken out time to assist the National Assembly in preparing this veritable instrument for national development. I want to thank the general public for making our time to attend. I also want to thank the civil society organizations. My thanks also goes to our various development partners in the Federation. Not forgetting to thank all members of the executive who have attended, particularly the Minister of Budget, Minister of Finance, the DG Budget, the Permanent Secretary, and even members of the MDAs that we'll be interfacing with soon after this program. We are very grateful that you found our time to join us in this onerous task of national development. And we believe that the contributions that you make today as well will help us fashion out a workable budget that, when implemented, will assist Nigeria to continue to grow. I thank you very much for attending. God bless.
Thank you very much, the Vice Chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen,
we've come to the end of the opening ceremony of the third National Budget Public Hearing being organized by the Senate and House of Representatives. This is an initiative of the 8th Assembly. What we are going to have today is collation of public opinion on the 8.83 trillion naira budget presented by the President before a joint session in December 2018.
The Right Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, the principal officers of the National Assembly, the Chairman of the Senate and House Appropriations Committees, the Deputy Chairman of the Senate and House Appropriation Committees, distinguished senators, honorable members of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Minister of Finance, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank the National Assembly for organizing this public hearing, and let me thank them for inviting me to make a few short remarks or at least a short presentation. The Honorable Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it will be recalled that the President submitted the 2019 budget proposals to the National Assembly in December 2018, on 20th December. And those proposals are aimed at continuing the growth trajectory since our emergence from recession in the second quarter of 2017. Indeed, the proposals are meant to quicken the pace of growth, which is still a little sluggish, and also to ensure that that growth is diversified, that the growth is inclusive, and that the growth is sustainable. The 2019 budget of continuity builds on the 2018 budget of consolidation. It aims to enhance the delivery of the economic recovery and growth plan objectives. That is, to restore growth, that is 1. 2, to invest in our people, and 3, to build a globally competitive economy. And the proposals, Mr. Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the proposals reflect the reforms and initiatives of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. Before dealing with the 2019 budget proposals, I would like to make a few remarks about the 2018 budget performance. The summary of the 2018 revenue performance is as follows. As at the end of 2018, The federal government's actual aggregate revenue was 3.96 trillion naira, which is 55% performance of the budget. However, it is higher than the 2017 revenue. Oil revenues of 2.32 trillion naira is 64% higher than 2017. So oil revenues in 2018. Company income tax in 2018 was 637.25 billion naira, which is 17% higher than the performance in 2017. Value-added tax was 148.92 billion naira, and that is 15% higher than the 2017 performance. Customs collections of 303.91 billion naira is 16% higher than the 2017 revenue performance. Now, the overall revenue performance, the fact that there are some one-off items, such as the oil joint venture asset restructuring, was carried over to this year, so was not executed in 2018. And we're expecting 710 billion naira from that source. In addition, 320 billion naira, which was expected from the revision of the expenditure outturns, the expenditure salaries were paid in full